Dude. Digging this free music. I think I'm digging this free music. Good morning. Marcus Conte in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. The water is warm. I think the water is warm for everybody tonight. The water is warm. This is you're saying to yourself, come on. I hate when that happens. God, I hate when that happens. So you're probably saying to yourself, what the hell is going on? Why a whole topic just for gay people? LGBTQ, you better say it right. You better say it right or the gays will bash you, right? You remember in the old days when people would bash gays, but gays will bash you if you don't get that shit right, man. If you don't say that LGBTQ. If you don't get it right, that means you excluded somebody. Like if you mix it up and you put like LBG, that means you put bis in front of gays, right? So you got to say it right. LGBTQ people have won a landmark decision. Now, you may say to yourself, well, that's good for gays and that's good for the 7 million people in employment, right? But there's a different ramification. That's why I want to talk about it. That's why none of the dumbfounded independent, quote, independent news is covering this at all. They're not even talking about it. However, the financial publications are going crazy over this. Why? Because it gives new rights to more people, and it has wide-reaching ramifications for business and how large corporations going forward, because now they got to cover another 7 million people, right? So up till this point, half of the country, although you could get married if you were gay, right? If you're gay marriage is now legal across the country, but it's still in half the states in the country. Before this decision, any employer could fire you because you're gay or lesbian or whatever it is, you're transgender or your sexual orientation, right? So we're going to talk about that, right? Because before yesterday it was illegal. It was legal. Now it is illegal, says the Supreme Court by none other than Neil Gorsuch, Trump's right hand. right? Trump's guy. So it's a win-win-win-win for the gay community. I don't know why there isn't more people screaming and yelling about the tremendous victory in employment. I remember it's in employment, right? So if you're working and you identify yourself as anything other than standard male or female, right, then you could be fired in half the states. Certainly not where I live. In New York, this is 20 years ago they solved this problem, right? At the state level. In all the liberal cities across the country, right? California, all up and down the West Coast, New York, Boston, Massachusetts, whatever. But half the country until this point was still segregated and could fire you for who you share your bed with or who you get too close to. So it's kind of landmarky in that sense as well. But the bigger landmark, as I'm telling you, the bigger landmark is that in employment, that corporations are now going to get their balls squeezed a little tighter and have to not discriminate against common Americans who, don't know which is the correct hole, right? Right? Exit only, right? That's fucking crude gay humor early in the morning. So anyway, so while you're here, and I'm glad you are here, I'm glad we're all here, kindly become a Patreon of this channel. This is my website, marcusconte.com. I haven't updated it yet because I'm running 5-10 minutes late or whatever. But tip jar, this is where it all happens, right? This is how we keep it going. You hit the tip jar, right? And you can make a one-time contribution at PayPal if you have that kind of sophistication, if you have a PayPal account. You can also go to eBay and buy some stickers, or you can join for 2 months. This is the best option because it's an ongoing support for $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever it is, right? You become a Patreon of the channel. So let's start here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Oh, we got in the house. We got Vinny DiMartini is in the house. Sterling Price, pair of wrenches in the house. Thank you, guys. Don't be a dick in the chat, right? This is a dicky, a potentially dicky subject, right? Don't be a dick. So there's actually something strange about that. It's a fucking dick subject. So Gorsuch sold out, says Mark H. Hey, Mark H is here. Mark H is in the house with his dissent. Dissent is okay, but being a dick is another story. Jim Gerard is here. Miss Chicago. Vinny DiMartini, motherfucker. Christian Dome Defender, JB, Miss Chicago, Weevil Boy is a girl. Weevil Boy's a girl. Chris Mike, Harkview Cinema, bringing on the cinema. So thanks everybody. Carol Hayes in the house. If I missed you, I'm going to get to it, man. Just let me get to the show first. Right? So here is, let's just get a couple of preliminary stories out of the way before we talk about the homo wacky going on, right? The victory for Homoville. The autonomous zone, what's going on and what does Seattle happen? Let's just get an update, right? RT does a good job, 2 minutes, we get an update on Chadsville, the occupied territory of downtown Seattle by the Antifa rebels and the sprinkled in Black Lives Matter people. They've all relocated to Seattle. Right? The whole crew is in Seattle. So let's listen.
President Trump's made his feelings clear about the handling of the Seattle Autonomous Zone, laying the blame squarely at local leaders.
You have a governor that doesn't do a damn thing about it, and you have a mayor that doesn't know she's alive. She's talking about it's going to be a love fest this summer. Now, if they don't do the job, I'll do the job. And I've already spoken to the Attorney General about it. But if they don't do the job, we will do the job.
What can you do?
About 10 different things, any one of which will solve the problem quickly.
Well, check this too. This video's been circulating online, showing a protester apparently handing out a
Trump says we got 10 different ways to wrap this up. Threatening with brute force.
Rifles to minors, despite that being very much against the law in Washington state. Seattle reporter Joey Weiser spoke to me earlier. He says that from what he's seen so far, the protests, though, are mostly peaceful. Been largely quiet for what you've seen. It looks pretty quiet around you. I can see somebody filming you over your shoulder there at the moment. But have you seen any trouble?
So I think when we talk about the idea of looting or violence, right, I think it's sort of out of touch with what protesters here on the ground have come to understand for the last 2 weeks. The looting and violence started from the Seattle Police Department. They were violent with flashbangs and pepper spray and, the sound cannons, all kinds of things. And so this is the most peaceful I have seen it in 2 weeks.
How about that? How about that? The most peaceful he's seen in the last 2 weeks. Why? Because the police stopped bringing the violence. The police bring the violence. The police bring the violence. Always. That's why it's peaceful. Leave them the fuck alone. Right?
Outspoken talk radio host Dave Perkins chipped in too. He says the campaigners in the occupied zone should expect a tough response if they keep it up.
There's just a variety of stupidity on the level almost of insult to ordinary Americans being exercised and displayed by these Antifa people.
Why? Because they're exercising their right to assemble, their right to free speech under the First Amendment, their right to bear arms under the Second Amendment, the right to assemble a militia against tyranny under the Second Amendment. Oh, yeah. Okay.
As they try to pretend that having taken over downtown Seattle, it is now better run than it was before. We see recently they changed their name from Autonomous Zone to Occupied something or other because they're sort of ceding official independent status as a nation that they were so eager to grasp in the first week. The reason they're doing this is they've realized that Donald Trump can put up razor wire around their compound and install border crossing stations and revoke the citizenship of all the people in an autonomous zone and then begin to deal with them as the international independent country they claim to be. Anyone that escapes from the autonomous zone will be deported back there. There are all kinds of things that are well within common international.
Listen to this psychopath he's talking about imprisoning people, building barbed wire around them, revoking their citizenship. What a fucking moron.
Law that the president could do.
He's right in that Trump can do it. Trump can do all kinds of very, very violent, harsh action against the protesters. Because if they do declare themselves their own country, then the United States can build a wall around it and isolate it and refuse to trade with it and basically starve them out. Right? We know that. We know that there's all kinds of very cruel and unjust and brutal things that our government, led by a military, can do to end the thing. They could drop a fucking smack bomb right in the middle of it. Right? They can anthrax. They could poison the food. They could shut off the water. They could shut off the electric. There's all kinds of horrific things that the police and the government can do to bring on the violence. And Trump's behind that. You heard him say it. I got 10 things I could do. I could do 10 things. If they don't do it, I'm going to do it. 10 things I could do to bring this thing to a close. Right? So that's where are we going to have? So the question is, are we going to have another Occupy Wall Street where the police at some point, some sort of military, some sort of establishment force comes in and shuts it down? I don't know. I guess it's leading to that because you got. What's different about New York is that the NYPD and New York establishment never really supported Occupy Wall Street. They wanted it out of it from the beginning. But in Seattle, it seems a little different. It seems that the governor and the mayor there are being sympathetic and understanding to the movement. This end police brutality, please, pretty please with sugar, end the beating and the killing of people because of bad policing. What is so fucking hard to understand, right? Cut it out, right? See, rich people, establishment, oligarchs, they don't care about it because there's no way on earth that their precious children or themselves are going to be, inflicted by police brutality, right? It's just not going to happen, right? But those people over there, you see those poor people over there living in the cities, trying to have a voice, they're going to get their heads bashed. But it has nothing to do with us. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, so that's what's going on there. Trump Yeah. So this is Trump's solution. President Trump is preparing to sign an executive order Tuesday that will create a system for tracking police misconduct, incentivizes officer training, and send social workers on some non-violent police calls. All right, so this is all sidestepping bullshit because Trump's version of reform is give them a little more money and be a little more understanding of their needs. No, fuck you. The culture of policing in this country, it is now clear, it is now common knowledge that the culture of violence in policing in this country must end. It's just everybody knows it now. Right? People know it, that things are okay. A guy is peacefully talking while he sits online while he's being confronted by police about DWI, while he's drinking, waiting for his Wendy's hamburger, right? And then the police bring on the violence. Put your fucking hands behind your back. Grabbing the guy's hands, put him, jamming his hands behind his back, cuffing him, stuffing him in the car. That sort of stuff. That's what brings on the violence. There has to be a better way of doing it. Right? There has to be a better way of doing it. It's not like the guy committed murder. The guy fell asleep online at fucking Wendy's. There's a big difference. Right? You're not apprehending you're treating bank robbery the same as jaywalking. Right? The two kids that got arrested for jaywalking. What about the trillionaires? What about the billionaires that stole, that redirected $3 trillion in debt relief in stimulus? $3 trillion. They redirected $3 trillion to banks and put the money in their pocket. Right? They took it from the people that were supposed to get it. Those are fucking criminals. $3 trillion. How many establishment crimes, stealing a fucking election in 2016 and again in 2020 against Sanders, stealing elections, rigging machines, rigging exit polls. These are fucking serious crimes. Hillary Clinton deleting emails, right? Deleting government evidence on FBI subpoena and congressional subpoena, right? High crimes and misdemeanors, right? Felonies. But we choose to look at a guy who falls asleep online waiting for his Wendy's hamburger and dies because of it. Right? Trump, get your head out of your anus, you fucking idiot. Get your head out of your ass. Right? So Trump, again, I've always said that Trump is for the establishment, is for the oligarchs, and there he is. There you have it. He's lobbying to keep the brutality going. Keep it going, man. Keep it going. Good job, Trump. Good fucking job. So here's just another side story. NYPD finds no criminality by Shake Shack workers in the case of sickened cops. So apparently yesterday, a bunch of cops downtown, they're at a protest or something. They stop off a Shake Shack and they get a couple of shakes, right? And as they're drinking the shakes, they all simultaneously say there's something wrong with these shakes, right? And they throw the shakes out. And they go to the hospital, right? Apparently, they accused Shake Shack of poisoning them. Somebody poisoned the police with bleach, and it turns out that it was just bullshit. They didn't clean the machine, the ice cream machine or whatever, and it had some bleach in it. So NYPD finds no criminality, right? So NYPD said it found no criminality by Shake Shack workers in connection with the hospitalization of 3 officers who drank milkshakes they believe may have been spiked with bleach, a police official said. After a thorough investigation by the NYPD's Manhattan South investigators, it has been determined that there was no criminality by Shake Shack employees. I'm surprised the cops didn't go back and start shooting people, right, and justify it. You tried to kill us, we're going to kill you, motherfucker. You could almost say that the police would almost come to violence when they start locking everybody up in Shake Shack based on an error. It kills Shake Shack. Who would buy a shake? I wouldn't get a shake from the shack anymore, knowing that they don't fucking clean. They leave the bleach in the machine when you start to mix the ice cream. How stupid, right? It shows a couple of things. It shows that the police are very paranoid. They think they're being poisoned. They think they're being attacked. They think they're the victim. Oh, we're being victimized, the police. Right? The police who bring on the violence 100% of the time, 95% of the time, are now victims. They're trying to poison us. The people are poisoning us. Go. Get out. Police, quit. Who cares? So, what else we got? So here's another story, and then we'll get into the gay blade. So here's something rather interesting. When you look at the statue, what do you see? What do you see? I see Abraham Lincoln, and he definitely has a higher. I mean, he's the president of the United States, and he has a lower person below him, right? I get that part of it, but that's Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation. A Boston statue depicts President Abraham Lincoln standing before a freed black man. But blacks don't see it that way. Blacks see it as, they like to change history, right? The people that look at the statue, rather than accept the interpretation at the time, which is in the statue, which is the artist's depiction of what was happening at the time, and the people paid for that through their fucking, statue making money. Right? This is what the people of the 1860s saw, right, when they made the statue. Right? So why do you want to change it? Because now, let's read the story. Boston considers removing Abraham Lincoln statue with freed slaves. They want to remove the Abraham Lincoln statue, the President of the United States who freed the slaves, the Emancipation Proclamation, the Gettysburg Address. You remember that guy, Abraham Lincoln? He's on the penny and he's on the dollar. He's not on the dollar. Is he on the dollar? What bill is Lincoln on? I fucking forgot. Boston's mayor is in favor of taking down a local statue of President Abraham Lincoln standing before a freed black man after a petition was launched for its removal. Ooh, that's just despicable, right? So Mayor Marty Walsh office added that the poll wants a community discussion about its future and whether a new statue commemorating the end of slavery would be commissioned to take its place. All right, so the new commission, according to the blacks, then how about we have Lincoln down here, and then we have a bunch of angelic blacks with wings, right? Or suddenly they're all in suits and ties, and one black is a doctor and the other black is a lawyer, and they're above the president. They're hovering above the president, looking down on the president with their hand like this. Thank you, sonny boy. Thanks for emancipating and proclamating us. Maybe we should have a statue like that, where blacks are elevated above the president, and we'll rewrite history. Because that's how the blacks want to see it. That's how the not all blacks, just the idiots, the idiots that don't accept the history of the country and move forward. They want to change the history and change the move forward. But anyway, the controversial statue cited in the city's Park Square is a replica of another one. I just want to see what it says. It says, here's a black. It says that it's a statue that's supposed to represent freedom, but to me, it represents submissiveness, says Tory Bullock, who started the online petition, which had more than 8,300 signatures on Monday. It represents, quote, knowing your place because that's where you belong. Now, there is something psychologically broken about you if that's what you see when you see this. Right? Rather than look at the interpretation of the Emancipation Proclamation, if they even know what it is, the freeing of the slaves in the 1860s that Lincoln was venomously behind and defended and wrote, basically penned the whole legislation. But nonetheless, when they look at it, they see it represents knowing your place. So, this is sick. This is crazy season. Right? It's fucking nuts. Crazy people that don't know, again, they don't know up from down, down from up. So anyway, good morning in the chat. Good morning in the chat. Marcus Conte reporting. What else we got? All right, so let's look at this story. All right, so here's the deal. Right, federal. This is big. Again, I'll say it again. It's big because it's not just a freedom win for gays, but it has enormous ramifications, economic ramifications going forward. Because half of the country, the 150 million workers in this country, are now offered an umbrella coverage against discrimination for being gay. Now, we don't know exactly how many gays are in the half of the country that it is that can be fired for being gay. How would we know that number? Who wants to get fired? I mean, a lot of gays that I know from in New York come here because of that law. They say to you, you have no idea what it's like to live in a place where you're discriminated against because of what you like to do in the bedroom, right? Or who you choose to be intimate with. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and you listen to that and you say, you're damn right. I don't know what it's like. Because I never lived in a place like that. In my adult life, I've never lived in a place where these sorts of things were illegal. And so it has, the point is we don't know the exact number of LGBTQ people in half the country because their lips are sealed. They're not talking about it because they don't want to get fired. Right? How many gay cops? How many gay doctors? How many gay lawyers? How many gay politicians? How many gay military? All throughout the half of the country that before yesterday it was legal to fire them. How many gays are there? So what I was trying to say is that the number of, allegedly it affects 7 million people in the country, but we don't know that for sure. I think the number will be much higher because of the closet effect. I'm not going to say I'm gay because then they'll fire me. I can't say I'm gay, right? Everything we do is in the closet. Right? So as people come out of the closet, I think the number is going to go much higher, and it has economic ramification because corporations are now going to face lawsuits if someone should mention they're gay and then a few days later get fired. So let's look at this. It hits them right in the pocket. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's look at this decision. Federal civil rights law protects gay, lesbian, and transgender workers. The Supreme Court ruled Monday. The landmark ruling, this is CNN, so this is a left-leaning publication saying this. The landmark ruling will extend protections to millions of workers nationwide and is a defeat for Trump administration, which argued that the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act that bars discrimination based on sex did not extend to claims of gender identity and sexual orientation. Now, that's not entirely true, CNN. Trump did say Trump said that it doesn't apply in healthcare. So CNN is lying a little bit, but we'll clarify that in a second. So the 6-3 opinion was written by none other than Justice Neil Gorsuch, President Donald Trump's first Supreme Court nominee, and joined by Chief Justice John Roberts, both conservative. All right, so 6-3, it would have been 5-4. It would have been if both conservative justices would have ruled against this. If Gorsuch and Roberts would have ruled against it, it would have been over. So what does that say about Trump's pick? What does it say about Neil Gorsuch and what he really represents? See, people were so irate about, and what does it say now about the new guy? What's his fucking name? The newest. Give me the name of the newest guy who was accused of rape. The newest Supreme Court justice. I forgot his name already. but he also voted against it. Give me the name, man. Give me the fucking name. An employee who fires. So 6-3 opinion by Neil Gorsuch wrote the opinion, and that's pretty powerful that he wrote the opinion. An employer who fires an individual for being homosexual or Kavanaugh. Thank you very much. Thank you, Buddha girl. So Brett Kavanaugh, what does it say? Brett Kavanaugh also dissented on this, along with he dissented with I'm having a freeze on these guys. I should have looked up their fucking names. Who's the black Supreme Court justice? I forgot his name too, man. I'm having a bad day, man. I'm having a brain freeze day. So Brett Kavanaugh and the other right-leaning justice ruled against this. So here's the law. An employer who fires an individual for being homosexual or transgender fires that person for traits. Clarence Thomas, thank you again. Evil boy. So I should write it down, right? Shouldn't I write it down before we start? So Clarence Thomas also dissented on this. Dissented on this with Kavanaugh and one other. I don't know who it was. So there is simply no escaping the role. Let me start again, man. I'm having a tough day here. An employer who fires an individual for being homosexual and transgender fires that person for traits or actions it would not have questioned in members of different sex. Right? Listen to that. The ruling doesn't change. It doesn't change the language at all. It redefines sex. What is sex discrimination? Sex discrimination is when I get fired. Say I want to be a nurse and I'm male, and I get fired because I'm male. In the old days, that may have been the case. Right? Oh, this guy must be gay, or why does he want to be a nurse and not a doctor? He's male, let's fire him. And the example they gave, which really is a brilliant argument, and here's the example. I read it somewhere. I don't know where I read it. But the example that they gave was if there's a man and a woman, right? Imagine a man and a woman, right? And both the man and the woman are attracted to the man in front of them, right? So you've got a man and a woman, and they're both attracted to the same man standing in front of them. To fire the man because of his preference is discriminating against him because of his sex, because he is male. He made that decision because he is male. Therefore, he is covered under the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So that's the ramification. I get into this shit, civil rights shit, right? Because so discriminating against someone who is gay in law, the Supreme Court has decided that is sex discrimination, and they don't even have to put in language of LGBTQ, right? They don't have to put that shit into the Constitution. They don't have to adjust the law at all. It's a reinterpretation of what sex means in the actual law. An employee who fires an individual for being, I think I read this already. Yeah. There is simply no escaping the role intent plays here. Just as sex is necessarily a but-for cause, this doesn't make sense. Right. Today's decision is one of the court's most significant rulings ever with respect to the civil rights of gay and transgender individuals, says a CNN idiot. Where's the gay community, right? I'm looking at the papers today, and there's very, very little about this. Where I look at social media, all my subscriptions, nobody's talking about it, right? This is like fucking earth shaking, right? That gays now have, almost full citizenship. They do full citizenship and full right to employment in 100% of the states in America. I just think it's staggeringly important, right? On its terms, the decision is only about discrimination in the workplace, but it inevitably opens the door to a host of other challenges to discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or transgender status on the ground that it too is impermissible based upon sex. So there's the key word, sex. Impermissible based on sex. Now, I'm of the strand of human being that I don't care who you kiss or put your sexual organs into or receive those sexual organs from. I don't care. I could care less, what you do, right? What you're doing, that's up to you. That's an individual preference. As long as you're not violating me, as long as you're not grabbing some guys grabbing my ass, which I experienced as a young man. As when I was like in my 20s, I was very, very handsome, very, very good looking, big blue eyes and strikingly handsome imagery, right? And I would have gay men, hitting on me all the time, especially when you're like 19 or 20, you're a handsome, they look at you as like a Twinkie, like, Twinkie. Right, and you walk around the city and you're by yourself and you got your long flowing hair and your big blue eyes and the gays push up on you, man. They push right the fuck up on you, man. And that's annoying, right? Especially when you're not gay, because to gays, right? This is the psychology of gay men. Gay men think all men are gay. They just don't know it yet. So they think. But put all that shit aside, right? That's old baggage, right? That's old baggage, right? I don't hold any, now in my 50s, the gays look the other way. They're looking for the 19-year-old Twinkie, right? They want their Twinkie. They want their Twinkie and they want to eat it too, right? So anyway, I digressed. The big word here is sex. The pivot is sex. Right? So sex discrimination now includes gay because it is inseparable. Your gender, what's between your legs, your balls, and dick and pussy is inseparable from sex. Right? So again, the analogy of or two women. How about two women? How about there's a man and a woman, and they're both attracted to the woman, and the woman gets fired because of her preference. That is inescapably tied to her sex. So, speaking at the White House, Trump called the decision very powerful and acknowledged it was surprising to some. Well, it's surprising to Trump because Gorsuch, his pick, did it or gave the lead opinion, wrote the opinion. They've ruled, and we live with the decision, Trump said. We live with the decision of the Supreme Court. Right? The Supreme Court has confirmed the simple but profoundly American idea that every human being should be treated with respect and dignity, that everyone should be able to live openly, proudly, as their true selves without fear, said Joe Biden. Fucking Joe Biden chirping in because Joe Biden's a sellout. So here's the you don't know if Joe Biden believes that or not anyway. But the LGBTQ community is made up of approximately 1 million workers who identify as transgender and 7.1 million lesbian, gay, and bisexual workers, according to a UCLA's Institute report. Again, I dispute those numbers. 1 million who identify as transgender, that number will jump because, again, of the closet effect. And 7.1 million lesbians, gays, and bisexuals. That number will probably triple. Once people start to, you say, oh, there's no gay cowboys. Didn't you watch the movie, man? Broken Back, man? There's gay cowboys, man. There's gay people in the South. Watch out, man. Watch out, Texas. I know it's legal. It was illegal. It was legal to fire gays yesterday, but watch out, man. They're coming for you, man. They're opening up the closet all in the middle of the country, man. The gays are coming to get you now. You better watch out, man. They're going to pinch your ass. They're going to pinch you. They're going to flirt with you, right? Fucking how stupid, man. Most gay people have impeccable taste and clarity and style, right? The most that I've met, right? So they don't want your fucking old sloppy redneck ass. They're not interested in you. They're interested in each other and freedom and the right to express themselves and love who they want to love, right? What's so hard to understand about that, right? But the conservative right, I guess, is going to be, afraid of, gays, and then they always say, oh, look, it's bad for the children. Oh, the children. We have to save the children from the promiscuous gays. It's fucking sick, man. People are sick. So it's a big win in that respect. Meanwhile, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Alito, one of the court's conservatives, wrote in his dissent. So Alito was the other dissent. The dissent was Kavanaugh, Thomas, and Alito. And everybody else voted for it. So Alito, one of the court's conservatives, wrote in his dissent that, quote, even if discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity could be squeezed into some Arcadian understanding of sex discrimination, the context in which Title VII was enacted would tell us that this is not what the statute terms were understood to mean at the time. So he's saying, Alito is saying that there's no way people could have known, there's no language in it. There's no way the people then could have known that this applied to gay people, because the word gay wasn't even used. Homosexual was are you kidding me? We don't talk about that out in the open. That's a mental defect. Right? In the 50s, or 60s, it was still the people that were running the 60s, not the hippies, but the establishment of the 60s believed that homosexuality was a mental defect, that they would lobotomize people, electrocute them, or drug them, or institutionalize them for their homosexual tendencies. Right? And that's kind of ridiculous historically, because the Romans were gay. Homosexuality was quite normal historically before before this sort of recent history. So it's just interesting. So Kavanaugh also says another conservative on the bench acknowledged the social and political progress achieved by members of the LGBTQ community, but nonetheless dissented. Quote, this is Kavanaugh. Quote, they have advanced powerful policy arguments, the gays, and can take pride, use the word pride, in today's result. Under the Constitution's separations of power, however, I believe that it was Congress's role, not this court's, to amend Title VII. I therefore must respectfully dissent from the court's judgment. No, he didn't. They didn't amend anything. They didn't amend a damn thing. They didn't put any ink to paper to change a fucking thing. Kavanaugh, so stop scapegoating it. You're trying to run out the back door on a technicality. All they did was reinterpret, using common sense, reinterpreting the word sex. What does sex mean? Sex means male and female, according to the law. There's a male and a female. That is sex. What sex are you, male or female? All right, so if you're a variation of that sex, you would still be covered, is the interpretation. It's not something that Congress would have to change a law. No law has been changed, Kavanaugh. A number of gay, lesbian, LGBTQ groups celebrated the court's ruling on Monday, including the Human Rights Campaign, a landmark victory for LGBTQ equality. So let's see what other publications are saying. So this is an interesting read. So Trump, why is Trump descending? Because Trump's White House about a week ago had a riff about having LGBTQ people covered under health care of some sort, right? That was the riff. Let me just read it. A few days ago, the last few days have involved a bit of whiplash for a gay community. Today, the Supreme Court issued a landmark decision. It ruled that protections against sex discrimination in employment cover people who are gay or transgender. But last Friday, the Trump administration issued a rule that asserts this, that sex discrimination in healthcare does not cover the discrimination of gay or transgender people. Two branches of government saying pretty much the opposite. Here to help. So that was Trump's argument. Trump is playing the other side of it. Trump is not pro-gay. Trump is pro-business, because covering gays and lesbians and whatevers that are not married or legally entitled to it is so you can discriminate against them, right? Why? Because of business. Right? That's how you got to look at Trump. People look at Trump and say, "Oh, he's some kind of savior of the people." At least 40% of the country still says that or believes that. But he's in the pocket. He's in the pocket of corporations. That's why Trump has descended. So let's just listen quickly to what Trump said, and then I want to go back to that recording.
Go ahead, please.
Jimmy's reaction to the Supreme Court decisions earlier today about LGBT discrimination, saying that is protected under the civil rights.
It's very low. Sorry.
No, they've ruled. I've read the decision, and some people were surprised, but they've ruled, and we live with their decision. That's what it's all about. We live with the decision of the Supreme Court. Very powerful decision, actually. But
So.
they have.
So here's what I read on Trump. Trump is the master politician. Trump is not racist. B, Trump is not against gays and lesbians. Trump is a sophisticated New Yorker. He doesn't care what's going on in your bedroom. That's the essence of, he's not a bigot and a racist and a homophobe. He's none of those things. Trump is all business. Trump made the decision. Trump's decision in the healthcare issue was purely business. Understand that. Trump is an oligarch. Trump is a billionaire class. Trump takes care of his friends, right? But now that the Supreme Court has descended, in some respect, Trump would probably be happy about that personally. Oh yeah, gays got their rights. Great, fantastic. But it doesn't affect business. All right, so Trump would say, okay, well, looking at this, Trump is saying, well, sorry, the gays got their rights, so I guess we got to go along with it. Sorry, big business. It's kind of a backdoor way for Trump. It's actually a victory for Trump. It really is, because it happened. This decision happened under his watch, and by his first Supreme Court pick. So anyway, man. Marcus Conte reporting. I'm sorry, I'm out there in the woods right now. But so what's going on in the chat? Everybody's here. Sterling Price. Gender has always means sex too. Gender. Until just a few decades ago, they started using the term out of context. I don't know what people's decisions. We'll do a little, because I'm not following along with what everybody's saying, because it's just too much right now, but we'll do a little survey. One is you agree with the decision, and two, you disagree with the decision. We'll do that later. Don't do it yet. Civil rights, I just want to get through a little more of this. Get the spin, right? So where are we now? So New York Times, civil rights law protects gay and transgender workers, Supreme Court rules. The court said the language of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits sex discrimination, applies to discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Yes. Good job, New York Times. You actually said it. And I told you the reason is that sex is inseparable from being fired based on sex, being fired based on gay is inseparable from what sex you are. And that's how they ruled. Supreme Court ruled on Monday that a landmark civil rights law protects gay and transgender workers from workplace discrimination, handing the movement for equality a long-sought and unexpected victory. Again, unexpected because of the balance of the Supreme Court. Why did two conservative Supreme Court justices rule in favor of something so liberal? Well, it makes you wonder what the fuck what does conservative even mean anymore? Does it even have any roots in reality? Does liberal even mean anything anymore? Or are we moving towards, this whole paradigm shift of consciousness, people like to call it? Everything's upside down. Everything seems black seems white, white seems black, up is down, down is up. All this shit. Is there any basis for conservatism and liberalism anymore? Well, certainly not in the context of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court should have smacked this down just based on the fact that it supports liberal ideas. A liberal idea, meaning that, being gay is somehow liberal. You can't be conservative and gay because that's not that's liberal. You got how stupid it is, right? You can't be. You're conservative. You live in Texas. You live in you live in the middle of the country, right? And you're gay. You're conservative. You have to be, right? Right? You can't be gay. You have to be. You see what I'm saying, right? An employer who fires an individual merely for being gay or transgender defies the law. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote for the majority in the 6-3 ruling. The opinion and 2 dissents, spanning 168 pages, touched on a host of flashpoints in the culture wars between LGBTQ community, bathrooms, locker rooms, sports, pronounces, and religious objections to same-sex marriage. The decision, the first major case on transgender rights, came amid widespread demonstrations, some protesting violence aimed at transgender people of color. So let's see what Fox says. That's the New York Times. So Fox says, Supreme Court ruled gay workers protected from job discrimination in big win for LGBTQ rights. The Supreme Court handed a big win to LGBT. See, the thing about it is none of these outlets. The only outlet I think I saw was Bloomberg talking about the financial ramification. Let's see what Bloomberg. I forgot to look it up. Bloomberg search. Let's say LGBTQ. And let's see what they're saying. Tim Cook applauds Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court rules to protect discrimination. Let's see. LGBT decision leaves out 1 in 6 American workers. Why? The U.S. Supreme Court landmark decision holding that employers can't discriminate against workers based on their sexual orientation or gender has a glaring loophole. It doesn't apply to small businesses that employ as many as 1 in 6 Americans. Why not? There's no fucking loophole. Fuck you and your loophole. It includes everybody. So I'm just curious if Bloomberg is covering this. Sorry about that. Hold on. Why isn't Bloomberg covering this more from a financial angle? So that's how I see it. I see it more of having more of a financial angle to it. So let's do a survey, right? Let's do a survey. So Mark's Conte reporting, gave a whole show to this because I think going forward there's going to be a lot more to be said about this, about the financial and business ramification of allowing gays to have actual rights of employment. Wow, think about what just happened, right? People before this, if you're not gay and you were in that situation, what a disaster that some bigoted boss can fire you because you're gay, or they think that heaven forbid, they think you have AIDS because you're gay and you're going to pollute their restaurant. You're going to, people don't want to come in and see a gay, right? Because you're a gay waiter. In New York, that's celebrated. Gay waiters move to the front of the line. That's just the way it is. Right? Gay is celebrated in big cities. So what do you think? Have is this a good thing for the country? Let me phrase the question. Has America moved forward as a people with this decision, one, or have we gone backwards in the sense that we don't know what male or female is anymore, that we don't even know what sex is. We've confused the definition of sex. So one is we've moved the ball forward in terms of humanity towards our people, or two, the Supreme Court's got their head up their ass and doesn't know what sex means. One or two. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Put it right here, man. I'll check that shit out, man. So what else is going on, man? So this wasn't a very popular thread. People lose interest in gay shit. This is not gay shit. This is it's actually quite businessy. That's what I'm trying to say. So give it to me. I'm waiting for my answers. There's a delay. I'm 15 seconds ahead of you. Weevil boy, give me a 1. Yes. Says 2. Miss Chicago says we're confused. Vinny DiMartini gives us a 1. Buddha girl, breaking up families, depopulation, pushing non-traditional. Okay, that's a dissent. Buddha girl dissents. Vinny DiMartini. Vinny gives us a 1 and then a 2. Carol Hayes, number 1. Her pooper, distractions, agree. Jessley Snipes gives us a 2, dissent. Jessley Snipes corrects himself to 1.5. Me So Hungry, 0. Jason Walsh, all right, so people are kind of mixed on this. I think it's, I don't know, it's kind of a, I don't know, not a very thrilling subject if you're not gay, but I liked it, man. I was happy to talk about it. I was very happy to talk about it for the gays. Play a song for the gays. Oh. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Merch Conte in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Put on the music. Thanks so much. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini for the moderation. Sterling Price as well, moderation. Thank you, everybody. Her pooper is still here. Me So Hungry, Booty Girl, thank you. Harkview Cinema is in the house. Everybody is here. Yeah, baby. Jessley Snipes says, the subject makes my penis soft. Yeah, I get you. I get you, man. It's just the subject that I felt like I had to touch. I had to touch the subject, not the penis. Peace, everybody.